I'm Colleen McSwiggan, and I'm the Executive Director and Recycler-in-Chief for the Cincinnati Recycling and Reuse Hub. And we are a nonprofit in Lower Price Hill. We try to keep things out of the landfill that can be used by other people, and we try to collect the hard-to-recycle things that can go to places that we know where to go with them, but they couldn't go in your Rumpke curbside bin. So when we actually started, we were entirely volunteers, and it was just a very dedicated group of about 20 women and one guy who wanted to make the world a better place and find places to go with the things that we could keep out of the landfill. Over the almost 2 years that we've been open, we now have 7 staff members. The rest are all volunteers though, so our board is entirely volunteer. We probably have about 2 to 3 dozen volunteers who come either every week, every month, and then we get a lot of people who come and volunteer just on a sort of case-by-case basis as they've got time, especially if it's something where they need service hours. Our plan though is that eventually we will be in a space that's probably 3 to 4 times, maybe even 5 times bigger than what we are, because we know there's a lot more things out there that we could take. We just don't have the space to do that right now. So what we're kind of focused on is the things that we can take. So things that people have a lot of, things like styrofoam, plastics, electronics, and light bulbs and batteries, especially because those things have hazards associated with them, and a lot of people don't know where to go with them. One of the big issues these days is actually lithium batteries because they will cause fires. Rumpke has a fire at least once a week, usually in either their recycling facility or their landfill or one of their trucks, and we are trying to help sort of minimize the safety risk to the employees for those. So we will probably be here for the next 3 years, I would imagine, and we want to kind of take over maybe a little bit more space here if we can, just so that we can sort of have more gradual growth and not a huge leap to wherever the permanent place is. One of the biggest things we get questions about, when we originally opened, we could take number 1 thermoforms. Those cannot be recycled curbside, and that's probably the biggest sort of plastic thing. When we collected those, we would get the same amount of those as we would get all of the other plastics combined every week. But the company that was originally taking those realized that did not work with their recycling process, so we had to stop taking those. So we're hoping we might be able to start taking those in the next couple months, because that is just a huge pile of things that we would be able to keep out of the landfill. And then we're hoping to add kind of other things as we go as well. If we get a little bit more space, we'll be able to take apart the electronics that we get so that it's a little bit more efficient to ship them. And we're hoping that down the line, we'll be able to hire adults with developmental disabilities to help with that kind of stuff. So there's lots of little bits and pieces that we're hoping that we can grow here before we kind of make that big jump, but we'll kind of take them as the opportunities come up, because it's very much fly by the seat of our pants, but we haven't done so badly so far. As far as how people can help out, they can always make donations, both monetary, but then they can also bring their stuff to us. So if they have things where they've got containers of things that they just don't know where to go with, and it's something that Goodwill or somebody else like that won't take, bring it to us. And if nothing else, at least call us and say, do you know a place that can take these things? We can always use volunteers to come and help. We always need people to help sort things. We always need people to help, like when we have an electronics day, to get things out of cars and to cut the cords and all of those things, just because we could not do what we do if we did not have volunteers to do it. We're almost entirely volunteer run, and we've been able to keep, I can say this as of last week, 200 tons of items out of the landfill, which is 400,000 pounds. And a lot of the things are pretty lightweight, so if you think about styrofoam or plastic, the volume of that is huge, and we could not have done that without volunteer help.